What's going on, guys? We're going to skip all the intros today. We're just going to dive right into how to make this dividend portfolio tracker. This is completely on Google Sheets, and what it will show you is you'll type in a ticker, right? So here's Apple. You put in your shares and your purchase price, and it will generate the market price, your total cost, market value, dollar gain, your growth percentage, your dividend that you get, your annual dividend that is, the payout ratio, which I think is very important, the dividend income, and then even the company name will be plugged in. And then on top of that, it'll have a nice little pie chart so you can see all of your positions here, and then your individual stock performance so you can see how well each position is doing. And what's great about this is everything's dynamic on this. Over here will be total returns as well. So if you go and change any of these tickers, so instead of Apple, let's say I owned, how about Tesla? So TSLA, if I hit enter, you see everything will change. If I invested in Tesla at that price, it would have been one hell of a return, but you can see everything changes. So let's change it to how about KO for Coca-Cola, all right? There you go. You can see not only is my market value, my market price, the dollar gain is changing, the dividend is changing, the company name, the pie chart right there, Coca-Cola would be a very small slither. You see I would be at a loss right now. Everything changes, including the color. So I could see this color changed red. This is called conditional formatting. I'm going to show you how to do all of this. Let's change it back to Apple, hit enter. And what's even cooler is with these, you could also drop down. I could see what was my, everything changes. What was my least amount of growth or my negative growth, which right now is Intel. Say I want to see what my lowest market value is. It's Apple. What about my highest market value? It's PayPal. And everything will change in coordination with that. I want to put this in alphabetical order. I can do that. And everything will adjust. So let's dive right in. I'm going to start on a brand new landscape. I'm going to show you everything. And before we even start, where am I pulling all of my data? There's no API key needed. None of that. I also don't use Google Finance. You can use Google Finance if you do equals Google Finance right here. This has a whole bunch of different stuff, but it's really limited. You can't pull dividends from individual stocks. There's a lot of stuff you can't do with it. So it's an archaic way. It's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is pulling directly from Finviz. So I'm going to show you exactly how I made my tracker, but everything you see here, we can put into this tracker. I'm going to show you exactly how I pull all of this information, or at least the information I want, including the name up here, and put it into my portfolio tracker. Okay, now for starters, the first two rows you saw that I have where it says my name, or my channel's name. So if I were to just do that, I merge all those cells. I type in think stocks. All right. And then I can make this, the font, whatever it was, or something like that. Do a little bit of that, make it bold. Good. That's the first step complete. And then up here, the next two cells, I had my YouTube channel, which again, you don't need any of this stuff, but I did say that I was going to show you exactly how I made it. So I don't want someone in the comment turning around saying, oh, it's not exactly how you made it. So if you just want to fast forward through this part, my Instagram page, or, I'll probably fast forward through this because you don't even need to really see this. So what I did was first I froze these two. So if you don't know how to do that, it could be useful. So if we go to view and then, the two rows, that's now frozen. So if I scroll down, this stays at the top. And then I also froze the first three columns. So then if you select column C, go to view, freeze up to column C. There you go. Now everything's frozen. So if I go this way, this stays here. And the reason why this is going to be important is because we're going to start adding in what we need. So the first thing is going to be symbol. And you don't need to do it in the same order that I'm doing it, but to me, this is what's most important. So symbol, purchase, symbol, shares, purchase. Let's just change that to shares, plural, all right? And then what we want is, it's going to be market price. And then we're going to want cost, how much we're paying, market value. Then we're going to want your dollar gain, your growth, dividend, and I add a little money sign because this is exactly how much money we're getting each year per share that we own, payout, dividend income. I'm going to div for dividend, and then income so it doesn't take up a big amount. Company name. This could be important if you have a bunch of stocks. And then I'm going to leave these last 4 cells blank because this is actually where we're going to put in some data behind our chart. But we'll get into that. So one thing I realized is you actually probably going to want more than 2 frames frozen. So let's unfreeze these. Then we want to go up to the third row. So you click on that, you go to view, you go to freeze up to row 3. There we go. You want that to stay as we scroll down, right? So now what we want to do is the first one is going to be Apple, right? Or put in whatever stock you have. However many shares, I don't have that many shares of Apple. I have 3.015. I'm just going to put in 3 shares to make it easy right now. Purchase price. We'll keep numbers simple. I bought it at 161.26, so we'll do that 161.26. Now, market price. Here's our first formula that we are going to get into. We have everything we need with these 3 right here. So this is the formula. We're going to hit equals. The very first thing, and this is important, we're going to do substitute, okay? So we want substitute. Right there. And then the next thing is going to be index. Okay, we're going to hit index. And you can see content of specifically seller row. This will kind of show you what it is. And now we want to import the data. We're importing it from Finviz. So it's going to be import HTML. All right. Open parentheses. Now we're importing from Finviz. And look, it can show you below kind of an example, right? But we're importing from Finviz, so it's going to be HTTP semicolon or whatever that's called, finviz.com/quote.ashx question mark T equals, here's the important part. Quotation, the and sign, ampersand, and we want this cell. We want A4. So we're going to click on that cell to get A4. Comma, open parentheses, not parentheses, sorry, quotations, table. So we're going to be pulling from a table in Finviz, and I'll show you exactly what this means in a second. Close parentheses, comma, 11. So we're pulling from table 11 on the website, close parentheses, comma, and then we want row 11, column 12. So that's why we're putting in 11, 12, close parentheses, comma, quotation, star, close quotation, comma, and then we want to do 2 quotation marks back to back. Okay, and then we close it out. So now if we hit enter, it's loading, NA. Maybe we did something wrong. All right, here. This is what I did wrong. I spelled Finviz wrong. I'm an awful speller. I'm better with numbers. There we go. Look at that. Apple is at almost $500. So now we have the market price, okay? And what's great about this is if we put in all of our other stocks, So if I have Shopify, I have Etsy, I have Square, PayPal, NVIDIA, and then the rest. And then I could put in all of my share amounts. So we got 422. There we go. And then let me put in all the purchase prices. And boom, what we do is we click on this, take our little crosshair, drag it down, and now it will put in all of the market prices for all of these. So we're done with that. Market price is done. We can move on to cost. And cost is super simple. So all we're doing is hitting equals, and we are taking from B4, right? So B4, we're going to click on that. Our shares, all cost is shares times C4, our purchase price. Hit enter. So there we go. We could see my total cost. When I bought these 3 shares of Apple for $161, this was back in 2017, it cost me $483. We drag this all down, and then all of our stocks will go in. So if you're someone that only has a few stocks, like maybe 3 or 4, it's obviously going to be less. Maybe you have 100, and it'll be going all the way down, right? I mean, no strategy is better than the other. If you ask me, I think there's maybe some that are better than others, but hey, everyone has their own strategy. Let's move on to market value, another really simple one. So we're going to hit equals again. We're going to go to B4 again. So B4, right, our shares, and if it's market value, we do shares times what the current market price is. Very simple. Hit enter. So there we go. I bought 3 shares of Apple for $483. Now it's worth almost $1,500. Scroll down, all of those will update. So then I could start to compare what my cost was and what the value is now. Shopify, $1,300, now it's worth $4,000. So again, even if you have 100 stocks, just drag and drop, nice and simple. Dollar gain. Again, very easy formula. You hit equals, and we're going to pull from F4 right here, our market value, minus, you probably could already guess, what we bought it for. Hit enter. So now I could see how much I made off of all of my positions. It's right there. Right? You see Intel is the only one in the negative right now. Now growth. I think growth is also important because just because here's your dollar gain, well, what is your growth? This is growth percentage. Right? So if we do that, all we have to do is hit equals another. This one is a little bit more difficult, but it's not as hard as the first one to pull the market price. So what we want to do is equals open parentheses D4, our market price, minus C4, our purchase price, okay, close parentheses, divided by our purchase price. So what this formula is doing is it is taking the difference between what it currently is and what we bought it for, and then dividing it by what we bought it for. That's how you could find growth percentage. This is, I think, 8th grade math. Very easy. Scroll down. Now this is decimal points. I don't like that. So if we hit up here to H, right, and then we go right here to percentage, we'll change it all into a percentage. So there we go. All right, we're doing good. Next 4 are going to be longer equations. So the dividend one is going to be very similar to our market price. So now we could do some copy and paste instead of being repetitive. And pretty much the dividend payout is going to be the same. We're going to want almost the entire formula, but what we will be changing is some of the numbers, okay? We're going to pull from a different part of the chart. So just so you can understand what's even happening here with market price, you see how it says table 11 and then 11 and 12 for the row and column, right? Row and column. So if I just jump over to Finviz real quick. So this is table 11 right here. And we are pulling row 11, column 12. So if we go over, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then column 12, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There it is. It's pulling this cell right here. See how it says $4.99.23? So if we change this, instead of 12, what if we went to, how about one above, right? So that would still be row 12, but it would be, I'm sorry, that would be column 12, but it would be row 10. It would be 500.04. So if we jump back and we go up here, instead of 11, if we change this to 10, it's going to be that 500.04. You see that? So it's just pulling right above. So you could screw around with that. You could put any information in that's on Finviz. So now we're going to do the dividend, right? So we're going to copy this formula. Control copy, and then paste it right here, okay? And now what we are going to change, there's going to be three things we change. We're going to be pulling from a different row, okay? So we want row 7, column 2. So row 7, column 2. We're going to hit enter, and then it's 3.28. So if we jump back to Finviz, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is column 1. Column 2, there's that 3.28. But you might realize something when we drag this down. Not all my stocks have dividends. And so if you don't mind that, that's okay. But I do mind that. So what we have to do is we have to add another substitute field. So if we go all the way back to here, right? So we have substitute index. We're going to need a second substitute. So we're going to type in substitute again. Let's hope I don't spell it wrong. All right. And then if we go all the way over here, what we're going to want to do is comma, that dash, right? So we want, pretty much what we're saying is substitute that dash for 0, close parentheses. Whoops, quotation, close parentheses. Hit enter. There we go. Now it returns that 0, okay? So let's drag this down, and it'll fill in all of our zeros. Let's also drag it up. So the code is uniform. Great. Okay, so then I like to keep everything uniform, so I want this all the way over there, along with all of these. Market price as well. I want to push that all the way to the right. Great. Now we go to payout. Payout, again, it's going to be virtually the same as our dividend, except we're going to be obviously pulling from a different column and row. So if we go back to Finviz, let's take a look where payout is. So if we look through this, here's payout right here. We want this number. So how are we going to pull this number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 11 and 8 is what we're changing it to. So we're just going to copy this formula. Okay, control copy, paste it right here. And we are going to make this 11 and 8. Hit enter. There we go. And of course, we want to then move that to there. We drag the code down. And again, I don't like how some of this doesn't have a percentage. So as you can see, this doesn't show a percentage for whatever reason. So one little thing that I change with all of it is up here, you just hit that, turn it into a percentage sign. Hit enter, and then if you go all the way down, there we go. Now everything's uniform. I like everything to be uniform, little OCD. Now we're going to move in to some dividend income. So dividend income is going to be a new formula that we have to type out. So what we're going to do is hit equals if error. All right, so we're going to start with if error formula, open parentheses, if, open parentheses, or, open parentheses, is blank, okay, open parentheses again, and we want to pull from I4 right here. So we're pulling our dividend, okay? So we're going to hit on that. Then we want to close parentheses, comma. We want to hit is blank again. Is blank. open parentheses. What we want now is B4, okay? So right here, close parentheses, comma, comma. Then we want to go back to dividend. So I4 times B4. So that's all we're doing. We're taking our dividend. So for 1 share of Apple, we get $3.28. So here's where the simple formula comes from. We get 3 times $3.28. So that's what that formula is doing. Close parentheses, comma, 0, close parentheses, hit enter. There we go. I'm making $9.48 a year from Apple. Scroll down. And the reason why we had to do that is blank and that if error. That's because for all of these that are pulling from the dividend that is 0, that pays no dividend, it'll come up with an error message. And again, I don't want that. I want everything to be uniform. So that's why we have to do that if error is blank formula. Now we go to company name. This is going to be another different formula, and we're going to have to change something within what we've been using. So we're going to pull from Finviz again. So we could copy all of this because it's going to be almost the same. We're going to post it right there. And here's what we're going to change. So let's just jump over to Finviz because here's what I want to show you. We want to pull this right here. So this is not in this table. So it's not going to be table 11. This is table 11. So for me to pull the company name, I just had to do some messing around. And here's what I found. So the code on Finviz, this is table 11. This is table 10. And this is table 9. So that's what this is. So after some messing around, I was able to figure out I want to pull from table 9, table 9, and it's going to be row 2, column 1. Hit enter. There we go. Apple link. We scroll all the way down. It'll pull the rest. There's all my companies. So we can make that a little bit bigger. And then this one I like to make not to the right, but center. So there's all of my companies. So we're pretty much done with this. And before we dive into how to make the charts and everything else, again, you take this formula and you scroll it down. If you have more stocks than I do, which I would assume most of you would, you scroll down, okay? And when you plug it in, so let's say you own Coca-Cola, say Verizon, Walmart, Target, Amazon. Once you start plugging these all in and you plug in your share price, so let's say you had 5 of each, and then how much you bought it for, let's say 30, Verizon you bought for 20, Walmart you bought for 90, Target you bought for 100, Amazon you bought for 2,000. All of this is plugged in, and you just drag and drop all of these, okay? And it will pull all of the information that you're looking for all of your positions. So it's that easy. Once you have the code for the first one, you just drag and drop, and everything will be in line, okay? And the reason why I'm showing you this is for the people who have over 100 different stocks, it's going to be a little different when you have, there you go. So let's delete this. I could put more and more examples in, but when you have over 100 different stocks, REITs, ETFs, whatever it might be, your pie might be looking a little different and your chart might be looking a little different as well. So your pie and your chart, you might actually want to create a new sheet and add your pie and chart on separate sheets. If you're someone like me and you have a very concentrated portfolio, you're not going to really have that problem. So I'm going to delete all of those, and what we are going to move on to is the pie. So to get the pie, you're going to go to a separate sheet, and what we're going to want is you're going to want to hit equals, go back to sheet 1, and then go to your symbol, hit enter. And then scroll down for all the symbols that you have, right? So if you have 100, you'll scroll all the way down. I don't, I only have 14. And then you go to the next one, hit equals, and then we're going to want market value. So you're going to hit on the first one, hit enter, and then scroll all the way down. Okay? Now we're going to put in our chart. So what we do is we go to insert chart, and what we want is this little pie chart. And when we go to here, our label says select data range. As soon as we click on this, this pops up. We go over to sheet 2 and select all of this, hit OK, and then value, we do the same thing. Go back to sheet, all of that, hit OK. There we go. Everything pops in. So now we'll get into the colors later, but we could shrink that, drag it right into there. This is just, touch-ups, making exactly where you want it. So that goes right there. It's actually a little bit smaller. Okay, so there we go. And that's why you might want this on a second sheet. You might want this entire pie chart on this sheet because you might have 100 different stocks and it'd be really big and it'd just be ridiculous seeing it on this little tiny thing. Instead, it might be this massive thing, so you might need over 100 different tickers, and you can have them visible, or you can do a couple of things. You could just kind of highlight it and then make it white, so make the text white, so then you can't even see them, and then you just see the chart. But there's a million different things you could do there, okay? Let's just change this back. Okay, so that's our pie chart, right? We have it right there. Almost done. So next what we want to do is we want our total returns. So that's going to be right down here. So I'm going to merge all of that. Hit the merge button, and I'm going to type in total returns. Okay, great. And we're going to want to center that. Then make it bold. And what we want is we're going to want to merge all of these. And I'm going to type in total cost. Mess that up. Total cost, total market value, total gain, $, and then total gain percentage. All right, so now the total cost it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to hit equals sum, open parentheses. We're going to want E4, okay, so right up there, semicolon, and then we go all the way down. So I go all the way down to E17, so E17. So again, if you have more stocks, you might not want this right here. You might want this somewhere else. You might want your total returns maybe up here, and this chart can be on a separate sheet. I'm just showing it for the sake of my portfolio. You could do all the messing around. I'm just showing you the formulas. That's really what's important. So now for our market value, it's going to be open parentheses, F4, semicolon, F17, close. There we go. Our total dollar gain, that is going to be equals C20. All right, we want to pull from that minus C19. So we're literally just taking our market value and subtracting it from our total cost. It's real simple. And then for our total gain, it's going to be C21 divided by C19. Also very simple. So that will give us our percentage and then our dollar amount. So we could change this to percentage. We could change this to a dollar amount, and then both of these to a dollar amount. So there you could see exactly what you're putting in. And again, everything's dynamic. Let's say I had 300 shares of Apple. You can see everything changes, right? My chart changed, everything up here changed, all of that changed, okay? Let's change it back. We're almost there. If you guys are still watching, props to you. So the next thing is I like this nice big chart. Again, this could be on a separate sheet if you want, but this will be your individual position performance with percentage. Hit enter. Then we want to center this, make it look all nice. Probably make it 18. Bold. That looks good. Okay. So same deal. You're going to want to go to a different page if you want. I put all these in because I highlighted all the way down. So that's why those are being put in. So we can just delete all of that because nothing's going in there. Okay, so what we're going to want to do, we're going to go back here, put in our second chart. We're going to want to do equals, go back to sheet 1, hit Apple, okay, just like last time. Scroll down. Okay, great. So what we're going to pull from now is if we hit equals, go back to sheet 1, I'm going to hit growth, hit enter. So there we go. Here's our individual growth for every single stock. So they're all in place now. And just like last time, we're going to want to make another chart. We're going to go to insert chart. And what we want is, let's see, column chart. So I guess it's not a stacked one. I guess just the normal column chart that we have selected could work. There we go. So you click on that little box right there. So we can select a range. We're going to want to select all of those. Hit OK. And then we're going to want to add series. Go down. Select all of these. Hit OK. Boom. There it is. And how I had it in my original one, I had it very skinny. Like this. Kind of very skinny like this. Scroll out, go all the way over, right to there. So there we go. Everything's starting to come together. Again, if you have more stocks, you might want this in a separate sheet. So maybe it would be if you had 100 stocks, it might be a lot skinnier like that and a lot taller, whatever it might be. Right? Just imagine if you had 100, it would look better if it's really big like that. But because I have so little stocks, let me do a little bit of that. There we go. So now everything's starting to come together. And really the only thing that's left is the conditional formatting and then coloring everything. So right now it looks pretty boring with it being white, right? So I know this was orange, I believe. I don't believe, I do know. It was orange. So I'm not going to sit here and color everything because that could take forever. And this video is already going to be long enough. The only other thing I want to show you on this is the conditional formatting. That's the only other important part. For my dollar gain and dollar growth, it's kind of hard to see, which one is in the negative. And if you have more stocks, maybe more in the negative. So it'd be really simple to see. I mean, the chart makes it very easy. We could see Intel's the only one in the negative. Right here, you kind of have to look. And it's hard on the eyes. So what you do is if you click on this, right click, and you go to conditional formatting. And what you do is, if it's green, right, we want to make it green. So if the cell is right here, greater than, then enter value or formula. 0. If it's greater than 0, we want it green. We hit enter. Okay? but we want to add a second rule. So we add another rule. And then if we go right here, if it is less than 0, we want it red. Hit enter. And then we want to bring this all the way down. And there you go. So now it sees all of these are greater than 0, and that isn't. So then it changes it. And then we could go across that way. Whoops, let's not do that. You got to go now to growth and do the exact same thing. Add rule. If it's greater than 0, hit enter. Add another rule. If it's less than 0, then we want it red. So, whoops, not the text. Keep the text black. We want this red. Hit enter. Scroll all the way down. And what's really cool is you could get creative. Maybe if a stock is really in the red, maybe it's like in the red by 30%, or maybe the stock is really in the green by over 100%. You could add additional rules. So you could add another rule, and you could say if it is greater than, how about 100%, then you want it really green. You want it like a dark green. There we go. So one rule will overpower the other rule. You just have to change it. So because this one is greater than 100, and that will make it really dark. And then you just need to make sure, scroll all the way down. There we go. You just need to make sure the lighter one is below it. So it kind of goes in the order of operations. So if I switch this, it's now saying this one's more important than this one. So obviously all of these are greater than 0, but not all of them are greater than 100, but it's going to show this color. If you put this above, it will show, okay, here's the ones that are both greater than 0 and greater than 100. We will return this color. These are only greater than 0, so only return this color after. So you just got to screw around with that, but that's how you could do that. I'm just going to get rid of this, just showing you stuff how you can get creative. So that gets rid of all of that. And same with the red. If it's really in the red, you do the same exact deal. And you could see if we changed Apple, let's say, or let's use a different example. How about Square? Let's say I bought Square for, right now if it's 155, let's say I bought it for $160, right? You can see it right there. Everything changes. This changed to red. You know, my total return went down. That went down as well. Everything changes. Square, let's say I bought it for $16. Now you can see it's up 800%, and that changed. And, well, that stays the same, right? But then if I add more shares instead of 15, let's say I had 150 shares, that then readjusts. So everything is dynamic now. This is absolutely everything that I have on mine. 63.66. There we go. So everything's back to how I had it. We get rid of that rule. And then obviously right here, I wrote down, because I did promise I'll make everything the same. Right here was investment strategy. My investment strategy. Same deal. We do that and that. We make this bigger. And then I just wrote down what my strategy was. But I'm not going to do that here just to save time. But this is pretty much what we have before it is colored. And this is what it looks like after it is colored. So I'm not going to sit here and color everything. If you want to copy it, you can pause and color it yourself. But if you just double click on this stuff and you go into all of this, you go to customize, and just click on all of this, and you'll see like there's the background color. So you can change the color that way. If I click on these, you can change the color right there. Click on these, you could change exactly what you want the font to be. You could even change all the color you want with all of these. Oh yes, and the last thing I have to show you is the filter, right? So let's go back to the other one. The very last thing is now doing the filter. So if we scroll across all of these, highlight that, and if we hit right here to create a filter and we put that in, now everything else is dynamic. Where if I do this, I want to see what I had the lowest amount of dollar gain, or Z to A will show me the highest dollar gain, and everything changes. My highest growth, my highest market value, how about lowest purchase price or highest purchase price, everything will change. What I have the least amount of shares in, or how about if I want an alphabetical order, whatever it might be, everything is now dynamic with the filter. How about what gives me dividends, the most dividends? So there we go. We could see here's the 7 stocks that give me dividends, and then the 7 stocks that don't give me dividends. So you could now customize it or filter it to however you would like, and it'll show you everything like that. I probably prefer my market value. I could see what is my heaviest and then my lowest. So I know I need to buy some more Apple and some more Adobe and NVIDIA. I'm going to hold off on buying more PayPal just because it's 23% of my entire portfolio. If we jump back to my final thing, again, this is just coloring now, and I don't need to show you guys on YouTube how to color everything. You could figure that out on your own. I guess the very last thing is you could even delete cells. So you could go down and delete it. So I just have the right amount of cells. But if you're someone that's not as risky as me and you have more stocks, you might not want to delete cells because you might want to add more stocks as you go. So this is pretty much it. This is the end result. And all you have to do is just update right here. This is the only thing you'll ever have to touch. Column A, B, and C. If, say, I buy more Apple, so say I buy, whatever, 5, or how about when there's a stock split, everything's going to have to change. So the stock split is coming up. I'm going to have to change this to 12 shares. My dollar cost average is going to go down by 1/4. So I'd have to change that to 12, change this to whatever it is. It's going to be, around $40 or something like that. So I'm going to have to adjust everything because then the market price is going to go down because it's going to be all by 1/4. So I'll have to update all of that. But anytime I buy more shares, so say I'm going to probably buy some more Adobe. So let's say I buy 2 more shares of Adobe. I'll have to update that to 5. My average purchase price is going to change as well. So my purchase price is going to go up, say to maybe around $400, whatever it might be. So you just have to stay on top of it as you add to your positions or reduce your positions. But other than that, everything else now has a formula and everything will be updated. And this is, in my opinion, the best way to just kind of keep track of how you're doing over time, because there is no reason why you should pay for an API key unless you're a day trader. That's really the only reason I see. If you're a day trader who needs calls every single second or even every single half a second, whatever it might be, yeah, you need an API key. This is pulling from Finviz. Finviz will update a couple times a day. And if you're just a long-term investor, that's all you need. You don't need to pay for anything. But that's it. This is how you make this dividend portfolio. If you like this video and you actually stuck all the way to the end, God, you better have hit that like button. Definitely subscribe to my channel because I come out with new content every single week. Write any comments. If you have any questions, if you're confused on anything, write a comment. I'll respond back to it. And other than that, hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.